trying to get myself psyched up.
Yeah, I know. I was doing that in the car.
Holy Spirit, activate. Little Steve Harvey in us. Welcome back to another episode of Launching Us. This is a podcast where we talk about us becoming small business owners and the journey it takes to get there. This week we have a really cool guest, Erika with Small Bites Donuts. Mini donuts. And they are delicious. If you're asking yourself right now in your head, like donuts, mini donuts, they're delicious. Yes. You should book her for your event next. Well, everything will be down there. That's besides the point. I just want to definitely say they're good and they're really good. But because we're continuing this series on tips for weddings and different things like that, we wanted to bring in a different vendor who definitely helps out with weddings. And she does a lot. She's about to go into a busy season real soon. And the wedding season. It gets us every time. But before we go any further, Erika, tell us a little about yourself. Tell us about what you do and why mini donuts.
So I'm Erika, owner of Small Bites. We are a mini donut on-site company. We come out to your event and make hot, fresh donuts on site. Why mini donuts? Because I wanted to do something different. If you talk to any chef, it's all about making people happy with their food, and that's what we want to do. We want to create an experience for our guests, no matter what the occasion is.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this? How long have you been a small business owner?
Small Bites for 3 years, but I've been in the bakery world managing different restaurants for easily 15 years. So wow. Yeah, once I knew it was the bakery I wanted to do, I jumped in different companies that already had their business plan lined out, and I kind of just was a sponge and absorbed everything so I could take it with me.
Yeah, so. That's great.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love your mini donuts. I think we had...
Secretly, I wanted her to bring some, but I didn't want to be that guy to ask.
I seen those dots on the text message, and I was like, they went away.
Yeah, it went da-da-da, and then it went away. Da-da-da, and I was like,
is that donuts? Probably so. Usually when
our kids love your donuts as well. Like, the day that we were doing promotions, our kids were just sitting there like...
They were ready.
Are they ready yet?
Stop videoing. We're ready to eat.
We had so many, and I was sharing them on Instagram. My mom was like, "Are there any more?" I was like, "Come by tomorrow, pick them up." There's a whole bag still.
Lots of leftovers.
And we didn't want to give our kids too much sweet.
But they ended up
I also
eating
like sharing
so much.
Yeah,
they're minis, so we like to say you can eat quite a bit till it equals a normal size donut.
So because you do bakery, it's not just mini donuts. That's your main thing. Right, but you also do a lot more with your business, right?
Absolutely. So in the small business world, you have to adjust, kind of move with the times during COVID. Not doing events, not being able to actually bring the on-site machine, I had to move so Small Bites could stay in business. So we decided to add on miniature desserts. Being a baker, I custom bake all the time. I bake for my fiance easily twice a week. So he knows we're always testing out different things. So we decided, why not? People want more than just a cake at their wedding. So we found a different type of thing to kind of tap into.
Yeah.
So, have you find that being like one of the biggest things why people go to you is because it's something different? It's the on-site. Like if you guys haven't, I'll put a picture up so you can guys see it. It's a really cool cart, and once you see the conveyor belt and everything going, your mouth just starts watering because you get hungry for these mini donuts. Yeah. And so being a fresh donut on site, I mean, I would imagine that's kind of what draw people to you sometimes, right?
Absolutely. The smell of them, being able to entice your guest with a smell that is so amazing, creates an experience on its own. So when we get to an event and we plug the machine up and it's not even cooking donuts yet, it's already making a statement. We have people ready to start eating donuts and the machine's not even ready. So
man, that's great. If you can, share us the first experience. Obviously the good, not the bad, because obviously there's always bad in the first experience. Absolutely. But how was that first experience going to a wedding, pulling up your cart and just seeing, I would imagine, people of all ages smiling, ready for a donut?
Definitely. So surprisingly, people had seen the donut machine, so they weren't as excited in the machine, which I thought people were going to be excited, and they were more excited to see the pink and white cart that it was on. So it's crazy to me that it wasn't so much the donuts, it was the little cute cart that they saw that was just so cute that they have to have, you know, and then it's a plus to have hot donuts just cooking across the top of it and falling off the end. So that was just an extra plus. So that kind of makes me happy that it's not so much product, it's my vision that they enjoy besides just the product of the donuts.
Yeah.
So
The presentation of it.
yes, absolutely.
The experience of being interacting with it. I wanted to know, like, what time frame is most of your baking taking place? So like in a wedding, for example.
Absolutely. So sorry.
No. Yeah.
Small bites is an experience. We don't like to say you can put us just in one certain spot. We like to kind of be wherever your timeline can fit us. Weddings are big on budget. So sometimes it's about them only having so much to spend. So where could we fit it and serve a certain amount of people in a certain amount of time and still be able to give them the experience? So usually it's towards the end of the night because it is something fried and fresh that helps kind of wake up their guests for the drive home. I also like to kid that it absorbs alcohol. So if you have,
no kidding there. It 100% does.
if you have an alcohol-full wedding, it's definitely great because it's going to wake you up for the drive home. It's definitely a nice snack. And I also like to hear people say, well, they didn't really need the cake because the donuts were
I agree. Like,
the best things. So
honestly, I think if we had a wedding again,
I would do the donuts.
I would do the
instead of
donut thing,
cake.
and I probably wouldn't do the cake. I'd probably just get like a miniature cake for us to cut for the guests.
exactly, and that will make your mini cake too.
Oh my God, yeah. And I think that's really cool, man. That's
That
really
is
cool.
super cool.
So looking at from, like, because you said you have an experience with working with different caterings and different business that way, but also different bakeries. When going back on topic for tips for brides and stuff, typically what is the timeline that these brides or people should be looking for you?
So it all depends on what the bride is wanting. Depending on the venue they go to, the package they're getting, it can already include certain things. So it can go back to budget if they're all inclusive, includes everything, and they don't have much more to spend. We're not really for that client. We're more for someone who has a little more flexible budget and isn't wanting a set package. So
Kind of allows you to be more free too about it. So
absolutely. So it's a little tough to be, I don't know the right words for it, but I guess it would go back to say you have to find the right clients. I've found in small business, it's not the same as working in corporate industry. It's like whatever the client says, it's more of finding your right client. Not everybody is right for you in small business. So
Yeah.
I like that point. I like that.
Wedding tips for brides, right? So when we're talking about how far in advance should brides start looking to book you, start booking their cake ideas, and so forth?
I would tell a bride when they are ready to start planning to reach out as soon as possible. It's best to communicate with your vendors early on to know what to expect, to at least know the price range so you can have an idea of what you're going to pay. Most of your clients, when they reach out to you, they either have a budget or they tell you they have no budget until you give them a price. Once you give them a price, all of a sudden a budget appears.
Yeah.
So to me, it's all about communication from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, we are something they usually book last. The dress is so expensive, the venue is so expensive, so we are usually towards the end of it. If it's something you really want, at least you know to start saving when you're early on planning.
Yeah. And when you said mini desserts, what does that look like?
Absolutely. So we like to call it like a grazing board of desserts. It's pretty much a table of all types of miniature desserts, from cupcakes to cheesecakes to cookies, all in bite size. So a charcuterie board, dessert board.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I imagine the Hispanic table when they got the little stuff and they got the
all
hot
the
sauce stuff.
sweetbreads.
Yeah, that's what I imagine that being like. Now I'm daydreaming.
And that's what people want. They don't want to give their guests just one thing. They want to give them options. So I like it because I'm a foodie myself. I like to tell people I go to events for the food. So,
Well, it's like what you said earlier. It's the experience. We're delivering an experience to our clients, and I think that's really huge. And so that's what they're getting when they're getting a charcuterie dessert board.
yes.
And would that be like appetizers, or is that still dessert time? After
We've done it all over the timeline. We've had some where we've dropped off early in the morning just for the bridal suite, and we've made it where it's the donuts, the waffles, chocolate covered strawberries, so things like that. Cocktail hour, and then of course cake cutting.
Yeah.
They'll have the cake and then all the desserts surrounding it. So
do you also make cakes?
we do miniature cakes, 4-inch to an 8-inch. I like to tell people I like to stay in the single cakes, but when my client is set on me, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make them happy. So if stacking a 3-tier cake is what I have to do, I'll do it.
That's awesome. When we talk about like pastries at a wedding, what have you found to be like some of the most funniest experiences that you've had with a bride or being at the venue with all of the guests?
Oh, goodness. Oh, so I have some pretty scary ones, I would say.
Tell us those.
Doing a dessert bar, you can put your not open sign telling your guests not to eat the desserts. They will eat them. They will eat them no matter what. I have been to some where they are halfway set up where we try not to put everything out so the guests don't eat them, just to kind of leave it empty. And then we come back in the middle of the night to finish setting it up before it's actual time for the cake cutting. And there have been times I've come and the table was already cleared. Or, please don't cut your bride's cake. I've been to a wedding where a guest decided to pick up a fork and slash the mini cake.
Oh, he thought that was a shared cake. Or she. I'm not going to be sexist. It could be either one.
So pretty scary experience, especially since I was there and I saw it happen. All I could do was pick up the cake and take it to the back. But at that point, what do you tell the bride? Yeah, exactly.
You just fill it with icing and cover it back up.
Yeah. So
did you do that?
Oh, I took it back. I didn't cover it.
Oh.
The slice was gone, but it was back. It was taken to the back so the bride and groom could at least rotate it to get their photo, and then it was cut.
Man, I thought my experience was bad. Remember, I didn't hear about it until a couple days after our wedding, is that my groom's cake actually dropped as they were delivering it to the venue.
Yeah.
And I was so excited for this cake. I still dream about it.
It was a Ninja Turtle groom's cake.
Oh my goodness.
It was the sewer top.
Yep.
With the red ribbons of Raphael, because he's my favorite Ninja Turtle, coming up with the little top and his fingers up there. I was really excited about it, and I would have loved to have pictures of that, and sadly I don't. But maybe someday I'll have to hire someone else to make that cake for me.
To remake it.
Yeah.
Oh, as a baker, that hurts my heart.
I would imagine.
Has anything like that ever happened?
Oh no, I never do deliveries on my own. Never, never. Especially a cake. I am paranoid as soon as it's in the car.
Eric is tagging along for sure.
He's holding, they're balancing on the legs, whatever he has to do.
Man, that is nuts. I think two things popped up in my head. Because you're talking about like the experience that you bring. What is something that you try to do to add value back to your clients? Like how do you? Because you obviously it's an experience. We'll make sure that they're having the best night of their life because it's their wedding day. So as clients, I know we talked about it before with a bunch of photographers, like how do you add experience? But as a vendor, like what are you doing to add experience or that value back to your customers?
Absolutely. So I like to cater to my clients once they have become my client. Most of my clients are brides, so of course, they go through their tasting, they get to try the donuts, but a lot of brides don't know that the day of is extremely busy. The day of their wedding, they're shoveling food down their throat. I think when they're planning, they have this envision that they're going to be able to sit and eat these donuts the entire time, and it never happens. So after doing my first couple of weddings, that was an eye-opener to me because I noticed my bride and groom were not getting donuts. They won't, and not get. It's okay to get one donut, but our experience is unlimited donuts. Yeah. We're there to keep feeding you donuts. So I made sure to correct that. I made sure to now during event, I'll pull the photographer, I'll pull the bride and groom. They'll have their set eating donuts, and then I'll make sure to get them an extra. At the end of the night, we pack them a box to go. So
nice.
They got to be able to eat the donuts more than just that one time at their wedding. They have to be able to have it the night of their honeymoon when they're still hungry because they didn't get no food at their wedding and they had a late night snack, which I had a couple do that. They actually found them in their bag once they made it to Mexico. So it was a nice little surprise. So yeah, I just want to be able to leave that impression on them and their families. And it happens. I meet people only being in Small Bites for 3 years. It surprises me every day how many people already know about Small Bites or have already tried our donuts. So
man, that's awesome. I think that's such a huge thing to do. I know like I don't think you ate anything on the wedding day, right? It was very mini, and then someone like I don't even think we cut the cake. We did cut the cake.
We did cut the cake. But
I don't remember tasting it though.
Away really quick. We did taste the frosting. It was kind of like the frosting.
Oh, the little fun thing that But I never got taste. Yeah. But it's crazy because I
by the end
see
of the night,
that.
I was like, I'm ready to go, guys. I was like, Juan, I'm so tired. Can
we were both tired. But I remember doing, because I've done a few weddings now on videography, and it is weird when couples are like getting pulled left and right as their plates in front of them, like as they're trying to eat, and you could tell they are hungry because obviously you finger food before the event, but from the moment they're suited up and gowned up, it is from photos to the ceremony to photos to more stuff to that
dancing,
to the exit to the entrance to the dancing and all that stuff. Like I mean, it's a good amount of time, and it might not seem like an all day thing in that moment, but you are moving so much and doing so much emotionally that it is draining, and you get so hungry. And so like to see people like aunts and uncles, that's what makes me so mad too, is I see moms and dads and aunts and uncles come bother their family as they're trying to eat to get photos or to talk to them or say, hey, come meet so-and-so. Don't you see they got a pasta in front of them they're trying to eat?
This is the first time they've probably eaten. Yes.
So future family, for those that are going to go to attend a wedding, give the bride and groom some break, man. Cut them some slack. Give them 20 minutes to eat.
That's right.
And so I
There's
really
plenty of time for the photos.
Yeah, still plenty of time. We trust us. We do our job. But I like when I forgot what venue it was, and we went, and they were like, okay, during this time, I think it was like 30 minutes. You are not allowed to get the bride and groom. That's what they told us as the video and the photographer. They said you have to take photos from this time of the ceremony to this time. I was like, oh, what if I needed something? And they're like, you're not going to get it. Because they have a table already set upstairs. The catering already have a plate, and they're going to have a private dinner. And I was like,
brilliant.
I was like, that is so amazing. As soon as she told me that, like, yeah, go give them the private dinner. Like, I don't need photos in that moment. Like, I'll be fine.
Let them enjoy the.
And I just thought that was such a good thing for them to do. And you're right. Some brides in the whole wedding party, you're so oblivious to what's about to happen that you're not even thinking about what time you're going to eat, how you're going to eat, or if you're going to be able to eat. But also, you're not even going to get to experience what you paid for. So the catering, the desserts, the fun stuff, the photo booth, all those things you're doing as a couple in a glimpse, but also because someone's dragging you to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a tug of war. And so like we've shared in the last episode, enjoy your wedding as much as you can. Enjoy your wedding. You're putting a lot of time, a lot of effort into that. You should really enjoy your wedding for sure.
Yeah.
Hands up.
So when in regards to like booking, can they book online? Is it contacting you and doing it one-on-one? What's your process in
Absolutely. So we are open to it all. Emails, text messages, direct message. I don't turn any customer away. The response may take a little longer, but we respond on wherever the message comes from. We have a website. It'll send the contact, but people are very personal. They want to talk. They want to sit down. That's also another thing. Not having a space to be able to meet them face to face besides, my house it makes it tough because clients want, they want to talk. They want to meet you in person. Mm-hmm. They want to know who's going to be at their wedding. So.
Yeah, I would imagine even after COVID, like the people are still wanting that interaction with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, even so much more now.
So what's the coolest mini dessert you've ever made?
Oh, that's a tough one because there are quite a bit. Oh, I would probably say most popular would be cheesecake, just because I don't know why, but Texans are big on their cheesecake. It's not just texture, it's everything. So it took a while for me to get the perfect cheesecake recipe. So mini cheesecake. And I've got the perfect recipe. I stick with it, and I think it's perfect. My clients seem to like it pretty well. It's one of
Do people get it for weddings?
Oh, all the time. It's one of the most requested items, but I guess taking it back also to price, people don't understand how much cheesecake costs. Cheesecake, especially with the ingredient costs now, everything that goes into cheesecake is expensive.
Wow.
That's why there's a whole
Cream
factory
cheese,
for
sour
it.
cream, exactly. So,
Dang, I was always okay with the HEB variety cheesecake.
hey, I grew up on my mom's. It was like Cool Whip and not even a baked cheesecake. So when I figured out it was such a big deal, recipes period are a big deal when baking, especially when you have picky clients, because when it comes to desserts, there's just so much. Too sweet, too tart. Like it's a science. Like
Dairy,
people tell you, yes, exactly.
Have you had any dairy-free or gluten-free?
We get asked that all the time. I like to tell people, if you're eating desserts, you might as well go for it. Yeah. we don't do any sugar-free, gluten-free, but we will definitely refer you to a dietary bakery. So we don't mind referring out.
Yeah.
Same thing going back to budget. If you're not in our budget, I don't mind referring other small businesses. In small business, everybody is always competing. Yeah. I don't like to think of Small Bites as a competition. I'm here to provide a service to my clients. I'm here to be an example, for other small businesses. So.
I love that because I think when I think about the wedding community, it's not that big.
No, and a lot of people are doing the same thing.
But there's enough for everybody. And I think we talked about that with several photographers you guys talked about it on the podcast earlier this month, where they literally, or earlier last month, they were talking about how every vendor has their niche, right? They could be doing the same thing, but the way they execute it looks differently.
Absolutely.
And so there is enough for everybody. And I love that you said you can always refer them over. I know we're not the strongest. We're good photographers, but we're not the strongest photographer for family photos, right?
Absolutely.
Or like quinceañera photos, like those type of things. I know that. I mean, like, we're good. Like, but if someone's like, hey, I really want this particular thing, if it doesn't fit what we can do in our capacity or doesn't fit our schedule.
Well, if it's just not a style that we do, I think someone asked us for boudoir photos. If you're not familiar with it, go to incognito mode on your Google and type down, and you can figure it out. That way you don't get in trouble with your spouse or your significant other, because it's kind of risque photos. I don't do that. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it.
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, she almost offered it to somebody.
Someone was like, I've had two people ask me and be like, "Do you guys do boudoir?" I was like, "Sure, we do it all." And then I was like, "Okay, Juan. Well, this lady asked me if we do boudoir photos. When should I book her?" And he's like, "We don't do that."
Yeah, and I had to show her. I had to show her
what you signed up for.
Yeah, I had to show her what it was, and she's like, "Oh no, we can't do that." And I was like, "Yeah," because I'm the main photographer. Not that I would ever cheat on my wife. I just don't like taking pictures like that.
Yeah.
But I have people that I know that can, and I have friends that do it.
And we're more than happy to pass
I would
that
definitely
along.
refer you to someone. Like, I don't know how to make a woman look sexy for a photo. And that's what those photos are for.
Yeah.
I can make you feel sexy, but you're my wife. But like as a photo wise, I can't make you feel that way. Like, I feel awkward. I would just feel awkward doing it. So I would rather refer you. And I think it's the same way for like wedding vendors. Like, yes, say a yes to a lot of stuff. Say yes to opportunities that come your way. Absolutely. But you have to be willing to say no to something that's just not in your wheelhouse. Yeah. And so like for you, like you do the big 3-tier cake, But it's not something that you would rather do.
And I definitely turn people away when it comes to desserts because visions can be so out there when it comes to design of cake, and there are just certain things we don't do.
Yeah.
For instance, black buttercream. We're not going to give you a black buttercream cake at your wedding. Your photographer is going to hate us. Your teeth are going to hate us. So, and you'd be surprised how many people want those dark cakes or
what's a black buttercream?
Just American
black
buttercream
frosting?
dyed black. Yes.
Yeah, so just like
and
a black
it takes
cake.
tons of dye to get to that color. So, but they want that. They want different cakes. They want things they haven't seen before. And
people
just
want
couldn't
something
do that.
unique,
They
and
do.
it is a unique cake. It's beautiful. I just lighting it, photography wise, it's not going to come out. But also, like as a wedding day, you think white, ivory. You think that type of color scheme. So when you see a cake like that, it throws off the traditional, which I kind of like. Even on the last episode, I said that I like the untraditional stuff.
Absolutely.
But there's challenges to come to it for sure.
Definitely.
And so here's the thing that we talked about in the last episode that I really liked is that vendors really kind of recommend each other.
Yeah.
Like you get a lot of business because of referrals like that and stuff. And how does that work for you guys?
Oh, so starting Small Bites, I quickly learned networking is your network. Everything is through referrals.
Yeah.
You make those connections with vendors that you work with at weddings. They learn your style, you learn their style, you learn what's right for the bride. Even though brides hire day of coordinators, you'd be surprised what all your vendors are doing at your wedding. We're all looking out for the same thing. When we all can work together well, it creates a successful wedding. More things that the bride doesn't have to worry about. So, and definitely, I would be lying to you telling you I don't have people that I refer who are my favorites just because of I have seen what they can do and I have seen successful weddings, and that's just the way things should be. You're hoping for their best day ever. People dream of this day since they were kids. So
Not to plug in, but also to plug in. We're also part of the same network. It's the Bay Area Wedding Professionals. Got it right the first time. Didn't have to re-edit this. But one of the things that I like about the group, and I've experienced multiple times, is that when majority of all of us are there, it's the same caterer, the same DJ, photographer, videography, the actual venue. When it's all of us working together, not that we all know each other and because of that, but because we all have that same mission to make them have the best day ever.
Yeah.
It seems like it works so much better as a vendor, and I feel like the bridal party and the couple, they seem more happy. Like we're all working for each other. If you're telling, hey, I need you for the cake, you're actually looking for me and not just forget them. They're not here. That's their job. And you cut the cake and now they don't have that moment captured. Yeah. Or the venue. Like I've been to a few venues and I love this, that they know how much we work. And at the end of the day, they're like, hey, we made you a plate. And I have a plate to go. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Even though I do love stopping at Whataburger on the way home. That's my comfort food at a long day of work. But I'm like, I appreciate that. And so like having a really good vendors list really does go a long way. Because I've done it the opposite, where it's me and a hosh-posh of other people and no one's looking out for each other. No one's communicating. Yeah. And after that experience, my prices had to go up. Because I was like, I'm doing a lot of the communication, the organization. Like I'm organizing a lot of stuff for me just to get my work. When that's typically done with the coordinators and the house and everyone helping out. And so like it's a lot. It gets a lot. I know my wife helped me out on a wedding a while back and she experienced that. She's like, this is a lot.
Yeah, you get other vendors yelling at you, telling you what you're doing wrong, and you're like,
oh, especially when you don't have a relationship with them.
Yeah. So it's and the bride and the groom feel uncomfortable, maybe feel uncomfortable with that person. And so it varies. So it's so important that if you're a bride you ask your vendors, hey, do you know this person?
Yeah, get a referral list for sure.
Get referral lists from your vendors. It's a good idea because they work with these people constantly, and typically they're going to recommend them because they know they're going to do a good job.
Yeah, it's not like these are my friends, they need money, help them out. Like these are other professionals that are in the business that are doing great quality work. Yeah. You should do them. I think someone asked me after we did our promotional video with you, they're like, so they take that cart to the event? And I was like, yeah, you should book them. And like, I don't know if you got anything coming up, but they bring the cart out and it's like all these donuts, and then you get to pick what flavors you want. And my favorite is the one with the Fruity Pebbles. But I remember someone asked me that, and they're like, well, how much? And I was like, I don't know, you have to reach out to them. But I really recommend, I think it's a really unique, and then your guests would really have a fun conversational piece.
Absolutely.
Like it's a good thing for them to do. And so like, I know your donuts are good. I know your work is good. So I have no problem referring you. Like, and I think that's the good thing about the vendors list. And so like, if you are a couple and you're looking for somebody, ask them for that vendors list. It does help a lot. Or
you can reach out to us here on our podcast, or, visit our social media sites, website, however you want to get in contact with us. Ask us for our referral list. We'd be more than happy to send you a long list of individuals who are trustworthy professionals for weddings, and get that information to you, because ultimately our goal with this series is to make your lives easier coming into 2023.
Yeah. So Erika, before we wrap it up, is there any other tips that you have for future brides and grooms out there?
Communicate with your vendors. Communicate. Let them know your vision. Send them inspiration pictures. The more details you load them up with, the more the vendors are going to be able to help you.
Yeah. And I love how you said earlier, communicate with them early. Yeah. Find out you get engaged. Yeah. Fantastic.
Let's start planning now.
Let's start planning now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think that goes a long way for anybody. So we just want to thank you guys so much. We'll leave Erika's information down, the link below, and all the description below. Not link below, the description below. But everything will be down there. Look her up. Look at her website. Look at everything. Follow her on social media. All the good stuff. And from launching us, we just want to thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hitting that like button, subscribing, and all the good things that YouTube likes. That's it.
Bye.
Awesome.